There's no reason for my index finger to hurt, but it hurts.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's all downhill. Let's just say, kids, you're going to peak at 25, enjoy that time, and then just buckle up.
What's good? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Newest Olympian. My name is Mike Schubert. I'm the titular Newest Olympian. I'm a grown man who never read the Percy Jackson books as a kid. I read them as an adult because I was on a quest to determine if society had been sleeping on that book series. And I said yes, and now I'm seeing if society has also been sleeping on the Heroes of Olympus series. And I'm joined today by a new voice for the podcast, someone who recently came across my podcasting life recently by learning of their fantastic show, That Aged Well. It's Paul Caiola. Paul, how's it going?
It's going great. I am so excited to be here. I feel like I have been training for this since I was a kid, and I had that big gold and orange book, the name of which I can neither pronounce nor spell, Dowlairy's book
Delayers.
whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just reading that over and over and over again. Like, my family actually was religious, and we worshiped the Greek gods. Like, that was how much I read that book. I'm thrilled to be here.
Wait, like legitimately? Or
no,
was that a joke?
Legitimately.
Okay.
That was sarcasm, to be clear.
I have received emails from people who do, saying that I have not had enough reverence for folks who believe in
I have almost no reverence
religions.
for anything, so don't worry, you're good.
Perfect. Fantastic. But yes, what is your history with the Percy Jackson books? When did you read them? Give me the story.
I read them probably starting in my late 20s. I kind of heard about them. I always liked mythology, obviously, and all of that stuff, and I started hearing about these books that were great. I think I started reading them after the first series was finished. So I read the entire first series when I was probably like 28 or something like that. And then I've just simply kept up with them because they're always good and fun and easy and like a nice little escape. And the good guys win and the heroes...
Spoilers!
Spoiler alert. Right. Sorry. And it just is like a nice little escape for like, a week. It takes me to read each book when they come out.
Yeah, this is a big soapbox that I try to get on. I literally gave a talk at a library about this, funnily enough, in a beach town in New Jersey, because my whole thing is instead of beach reads for adults being like romance, or murder, like if you like those, go for it. But why not also just read some YA books?
Yeah.
Because they're fun, they're captivating. Usually they have some sort of mystery, whodunit, something that makes you want to turn the pages. And like you're saying, usually good things happen in the end. And given the world around us, maybe it's nice to read a story where the good guys win for once.
Every once in a while, it's nice to, like, people are like, don't you want to read nonfiction? I'm like, No, I have eyes. There's nonfiction all around me every day. I would like some fiction, please.
Yes, gosh, I would love to escape. Well, that's fantastic. I'm excited to get into these two chapters where, we get some juicy stuff. It is a return to Leo narration, and there is no time wasted into furthering the Leo plot.
Absolutely.
So I think we should get right into it now. Where we last left our heroes, they had just dramatically escaped from the port, the Fort Sumner. They escaped on the docks thanks to Jason and Percy teaming up to make a storm. We have the whole Annabeth Reyna thing going on. And now we begin with Leo as the narrator saying, quote, "After raiding a museum full of ghosts, Leo didn't think his day could get any worse. He was wrong." And this is a perfect Uncle Rick, Heroes of Olympus opening sentence where it's just like give you a little tease about what's to come in the chapter and make you already go, what happened?
I also enjoy the fact the last chapter started with the new Civil War was here. And I was like, oh my God. And then this one is like a museum full of Confederate ghosts. I'm like, are we yada-yadaing Confederate ghosts? Like, those are horrifying ghosts in my head. Like, what happened? We never go back. We never circle back to the Confederate ghosts.
I guess Rick's thought is like, well, we already covered that in the Sea of Monsters, so
right.
we don't need to.
we don't need to redo it.
Don't need to have an old tired thing. No need to do it a second time.
Fair enough.
We've already been there.
Yeah.
Or maybe Rick is like, no child wants to read about people going to a museum.
Yeah. Ew, gross. He's also really into the Civil War, and I noticed in this book, which is great. Like, I think he's doing a good job of like representing it or whatever. But every time it comes up, I'm like, this is really heavy. This is too heavy for my light beach read YA novel.
Exactly.
But I get what you're doing, Rick. Good job.
Yes, and I don't know if it was just my school curriculum not focusing on it, or me very much not being a fan of history class when I was younger. But I feel like my Civil War knowledge is very limited. It's just kind of like, well, the bad guys were racist and a lot of people died. Abe Lincoln.
Yeah. And it's done now. It's all done. It's wash your hands of it. Everything is good. All of the wounds are healed.
Right.
There's no lasting trauma from this anywhere in the country. We are good.
Mm-mm.
The term Civil War is so misleading because I get that the word civil has two meanings, but like one of the meanings deeply doesn't jive with war. Like, isn't domestic war right there?
Ooh.
Like, whatever historians came up with the term Civil War, could they not have gone back for one more brainstorm? Just one more to just kick it around one more time.
Like, you guys cooked with World War I and World War II. Nailed it.
Yeah.
The other ones where it's named after the country, yeah.
Yeah.
Other historical ones, War of the Roses, I have no idea what that war's about. Great name. War of 1812, a little on the nose.
Yeah. 100 Years War, I get it.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. Napoleonic Wars, sure. He was
absolutely.
a major figure.
Yeah. Civil War?
Civil War, it wasn't very civil. I remember being a kid being confused by that, being like, why is it the Civil War? And then someone having to explain, oh, it means like when people within the same nation or area are fighting. It's like, well, you're right. Domestic war makes way more sense there. Way more sense. I should do like one of those S to D tier ranking YouTube videos where I rank the names of wars knowing nothing about what happened in any of them.
Yeah.
War of the Roses S tier. My apologies if that's an offensive war where bad things happened, but I'm sure a lot of people died. But like that name, come on. It's so good.
You can't top it. You can't top it.
No, it's really good. All right. But anyway, this is a Percy Jackson podcast, so let's
get
about
back
Percy
to
Jackson. So we've got this great opening line. The narrator Leo says that they didn't find anything in the Civil War submarine or anywhere else in the museum, but they then were approached by a group of, quote, glowing zombie dudes in gray uniforms when they were checking out the artifacts. Now, I was a bit confused here because didn't the opening line of this say that they raided the museum, but then immediately he says we didn't find anything? So what was the raid?
I guess maybe it was just a failed raid.
Yeah, an attempted raid,
it
but
was
an
attempted raid
unsuccessful
where
one.
Nothing happened. So
We
maybe
were
that's
so
why
ready.
Rick skipped it. He was like, this was a real goose eggs, guys. Nothing
We
happened
went
here.
in, we had to pay for tickets probably. We saw some old stuff.
Ran
and
away
then
from zombies, yada, yada, yada. Confederate ghosts, yada, yada, yada.
Let's just fast forward to the zombie part. So Frank was unable to control the spirits because at first when I read that and they said that they were zombie dudes in gray uniforms, I was like, great, Frank has a history with these people obeying him. And immediately Rick is ready to tell you that did not happen. So it turns out that our boys were already running back to the ship when Piper sent the IM saying, hey, come back to the ship. So no need to change course there. Narrator Leo then recounts how fun, but sarcastically fun, it was to catch a ride on Frank the Eagle. And Leo suspects that the Romans knew that he was the one that fired the weapons onto Camp Jupiter because during that whole scuffle, it felt like they were targeting him the most with the attacks, which I think is fun. Whether it's true or it's Leo just saying, well, obviously they were shooting at me the most, I like this no matter what the truth is.
Absolutely. I like that all the narrators are a little self-centered every time we get to them, which makes sense because they're all like 15 years old, but they're always like, this one is definitely about me, right? I'm the focus? Okay, great.
They're all fighting for who's the main character. When we really know, it's Clovis, our sleepy friend. So Leo is doing everything in his power to keep the ship intact as they speed off amidst this giant storm created by Percy and Jason. Annabeth tells Leo that Percy told her that a Nereid told him to seek help from Chiron's brothers.
Yada, 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 Nereid, yada, 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 Confederate ghosts. We got to get to where we're going.
It really made me think of that scene from Ferris Bueller's Day Off when they're talking about him being sick and it's like, Brad told me that Shauna told her that someone saw him pass out at 21 Flavors last night.
Totally.
For anyone who is young and has not seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, do it. It's a quality film and it's the rare 80s comedy that ages quite well.
Agreed.
It's like the opposite of Breakfast Club, which I loved as a kid and then was very excited to show it to my wife. And we got halfway through and I was like, this is not what I recall.
Have you shown her 16 Candles?
I feel like that one had already been like yikes before I was old enough to watch it, where I feel like my parents didn't even let me watch that movie.
Fair enough.
So They're saying that they need to seek help from Chiron's brothers. Leo asks, does that mean the party ponies? And though he's never met the party ponies, he has heard stories of the party ponies. And my instinct is that it's not going to be the party ponies because it doesn't feel like Rick is going to bring that back again. They've already come up a couple of times. It feels like that would be too tired. And we don't learn by the end of these 2 chapters who it is. So I don't know. So this is just a pure guess. But we know that Chiron's dad is Kronos. So my thought is that Chiron's brothers would be other sons of Kronos. And I do not know enough about Greek mythology. I have not perused the copy of Bellairs that I do have, thanks to the folks of Monster Donut giving it as a gift to my daughter, that I'll gladly read with her when she's old enough. But I don't want to read it too much because I don't want to get spoilers for the future books. Like, I gotta like not having a super well-versed Greek mythology knowledge. But my guess would be these brothers are other sons of Kronos. So maybe they're Titans, and we learn a little something later because the Nereid gives latitude and longitude coordinates for where they are located, and it's in the middle of the ocean. So it's not impossible to think that he could have some water Titan-y children. I don't know, demi-titan. I'm not sure how the whole family tree of it works, but I would not be surprised.
Absolutely.
If it's not the party ponies.
I have to admit, I did focus on a different part of this paragraph because this is where he brings up super soakers filled with pressurized whipped cream, which sound awesome.
That does sound pretty good.
No notes on whipped cream. Whipped cream is delicious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's fun to shoot it out of the can, so to have like a whole super soaker shooting that out does sound really fun.
Is that like the party ponies have a good idea there? I'm just going to say it. All the ideas aren't good. That one, solid.
It's pretty good. Yeah, like you're basically having a water balloon fight that also has snacks. Like that's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's way better than Civil War.
Yeah, that's much higher on the rankings is the pressurized whipped cream battle of the party ponies. So Annabeth says that they were given longitude and latitude coordinates, and Leo inputs them, and turns out that it's in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. No, so this is a callback to when I messed up the coordinates in the second book. I copy-pasted them into my notes incorrectly, and instead of it being the Bermuda Triangle, I got Doylestown, Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, when I saw latitude and longitude coordinates, I was like, oh, and I was very hopeful that they would actually give us the numbers, and then I could have on purpose mixed up one of them to pick a different town. But alas, they don't give us the exact coordinates. Leo just inputs them and says that it's in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
And your Billings, Montana joke will have to wait for another day.
Man, I'm currently in the works of trying to put together a No One Ever Comes Here tour for next year.
Oh, fun.
I would love, because anytime I do that, like I did a show in Des Moines, Iowa this year, and the turnout was incredible, and people were so excited, and the crowd was so loud, and it was fantastic. And this happens every now and then when I come to a city that doesn't normally get lots of tour dates from major touring people. So I would love to piece together a tour of like Boise, Idaho, Sacramento, California, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, like the places that are still like viable cities that have large populations. And I know from my download numbers have a legitimate amount of people who would come to a show. But just the No One Ever Comes Here energy would be really fun. But I'm currently, with the help of my summer intern, charting Amtrak routes to see, like, is it possible?
That game. You're playing Ticket to Ride.
Yes, I am. And you know what's unfortunately really hard? It's really hard to play Ticket to Ride in the Western United States. I'm so spoiled by my Northeast corridor.
Oh, I know.
There's so many train lines.
The train situation is a mess, but we're getting close to nonfiction again with the train situation. Let's go back to fiction.
Gosh, man. I would love if we had more trains. I'm so jealous of the world.
Europe.
Yeah, gosh. Oh my God. When I was in Switzerland, literally we flew home out of Milan because it was a more convenient airport to fly out of with like timing and price for the flight home. And it was super easy. We did the live show for the Newest Olympian, hopped on a train to Milan. That was like 3 hours. The most gorgeous train ride I've ever been on because you're in the Swiss mountains and then you're passing like Lake Como and Italy and everything. And then you're just in Italy. And it was 3 hours. And it's nuts. Like I know European countries are smaller, but like, come on, what are we doing?
We went to Italy last year and like we just took the train all over Italy. And I was like, this is the most gorgeous thing. And they give you snacks?
Yes.
It's so convenient. It's incredible.
It's wonderful. And this is not to knock on Amtrak lines in the U.S., even in the western part. Like I've taken them in the Midwest. I've taken them in California. They're great. There just aren't enough lines and there aren't enough trains going. Like
we need a couple good robber barons to come back and just fix this problem.
Like we need old school billionaires where they were, we don't need billionaires at all, period. But we need old school mindset of rich people where they were competitive in like making stuff instead of just like acquiring numbers. We need to ban the Forbes list. I feel like there's some comedian that made some sort of joke of like, after you have a certain amount of wealth, you just can't get any more. So you have to stunt on other people in other ways. Like you made, even if we capped it at $1 billion, like you've done it. That's the most you can have.
That's it.
You got to do something else now. And like, let's fight for who can make the most trains. Let's fight for who can make the most light rails inside of cities. Like I want people fighting over that, not who can make the rocket ship that looks most like a penis and goes to space.
Mike, you took that joke directly out of my mouth. You literally beat me to it. Exactly.
Wavelengths were there.
Like, but that's what they all do.
I know.
It's just incredible. Like, see who can feed the most kids school lunch.
Please.
How's that?
Don't take me to Mars. Take me to Boise, Idaho via Amtrak train.
Yeah.
From Chicago.
On the No One Ever Goes Here tour in 2026. Come on.
Please. I'd be such a better rich person than these rich people. I'd be so much better at it.
All the time. I would be awesome if I had money.
The coolest libraries, the best parks.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on now.
Give us your money.
Give us your money, billionaires. We know what to do with it.
We have such good ideas. Let me ghostwrite for you as a billionaire. Like,
sure.
Come through. I'll come up with the ideas and you'll be like, I don't know. What if I bought Twitter and then everyone loves me? No, they'll hate you more. Here's what you should do instead.
All he had to do was nothing. He was set.
Bro.
He could have gone down in history as like the guy who got electric cars to be cool.
We thought he was cool. We thought he was cool.
We were so wrong.
Anyway, Percy Jackson. So they continue. They eventually escape past the storms. Coach Hedge offers to take the wheel since Leo has been at it for 2 hours straight. He has to be literally pried off of the helm, and I'm hoping that this is because of exhaustion and not the Eidolons returning. We get through the end of this chapter and the next chapter without any scares of that, at least for Leo, so I feel like we're safe there. And Leo then joins Percy and Jason, who are doubled over in exhaustion, with Annabeth and Piper trying to rehydrate them. And then Hazel and Frank are having an argument, and I was confused about what the argument was at first, but then my guess was that this is because of what Aphrodite said to Hazel about tumultuous relationship stuff ahead. Was that your read on it?
That's what I came up with as well. Because I was trying to remember. There's a couple things where I remember like vague shapes of what happens, but I don't remember the exact specifics. That is what I came up with as well. Because I did the same thing as you of like, but why though? Is it because he dropped Leo, or did he?
You dropped the guy that looks like my ex-boyfriend. How dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah, so okay, that was my guess. I'm glad we're on the same wavelength there. Also, now part of Leo feels happy about them beefing, but then the other part of him feels bad that half of him feels happy about it.
I think the left half is happy, the right half is sad.
Yeah, he's got his, his angel and devil, but it shows that Leo's a good person, but also a human being, that he can be excited about this girl that he clearly has some sort of romantic feelings for, potentially being in a beef with her boyfriend. But it's good that his instinct is, well, I probably shouldn't feel this way, but I do still kind of feel this way a little bit. Now, their argument stops abruptly when Hazel catches a glimpse of Leo. Leo then looks out onto the sea after this, and it dawns on him that they are really doing this. They are really heading out to the Mare Nostrum, and he was obviously prepping for this, but now it's really sinking in. He also then thinks to Nemesis telling him that he's the seventh wheel. He tries to shake this off, and he asks Annabeth if she got that map that she was trying to find. And she nods, but she looks quite perturbed by whatever went down. Leo wonders what happens. He should read the previous chapters.
Could it be that someone she respected told her, hey, what if you just came back and allowed yourself to be executed for something we both know you didn't do for the greater good?
Yeah, a pretty tough run for Annabeth. Her mother, at least we get the flashback of her mother saying, you're dead to me. And then Raina says, look, I've got this really cool idea. What if we kill you? I know it's wrong. However, I do think it's the best course of action.
Yeah, I think it's best for everyone that we lose you for the greater good. Yep. That's cool?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're okay with that? Yeah, okay, cool. So Annabeth asks how much longer until they reach these coordinates. Leo says about an hour. He asks if she knows what they're looking for. She says no, and then calls over Percy to see if he knows. Percy says that the Nereid told him that Chiron's brothers would be there, and they would want to know about the aquarium and the creatures that are trapped there. But she also warned Percy that Keto is the mother of sea monsters, and she could send her children after them even from a distance if she's still trapped up in Atlanta.
Let me tell you, this foreshadowing of Keto making sure these kids get Jawsed at some point, as someone who was scarred by Jaws before I ever saw it, I don't care for this storyline at all. Like, I know something big with a mouth bigger than like my head is going to appear. Bigger than my head, bigger than my entire apartment probably is going to appear. I'm not loving it.
Yeah, it's the perfect little seed planting of, well, that's definitely going to happen. That's going to be the next thing that they fight. Cool. Jason asks if they could get the ship into the air. Leo says that Festus told him that a key component broke during their rapid approach onto the docks earlier, and it'll take a bit of time to fix it. Percy's fine with this. He likes being around the water. Hazel is not fine with this because the water makes her seasick, and also Nico only has 3 days left. She wants to get there as soon as possible.
Respect to Hazel for being the only one keeping Nico at the forefront of her brain here. Like, no spoilers. Nico is one of my very favorite characters in the entire series. And I know he hasn't gotten like the most development yet at this point, but he will continue to develop.
I know there is one book about Nico and someone else. Either the sun or the star. I'm guessing the sun. But I know there's Nico and someone else, and then a second book coming as well. So it's funny because when I was reading the first 5, people were like, oh yeah, Nico. And I was like, cool. And then he wasn't around much. And I was like, he must be a big thing in Heroes of Olympus. And now I'm halfway through book 3 and I'm like, all right, people must really like that Nico book.
Yes, you will understand why when certain things become clear to you. But Nico is also, I can say this, is like one of the characters here who I feel like really deals with the trauma of his existence in a real way. And look, I get it. These are books for like young adults, and like we can't wallow in sadness despite what's coming the next chapter for too long and like all the trauma. But like Nico is like a kid who's kind of like, yeah, my life's been a lot. And I would also be goth as like Nancy Downs in The Craft. If I went through like half of what Nico has gone through, like I would also be like summoning the 4 corners and everything. And I get Nico, and I like Nico a lot.
Yeah, I like him too. I'm excited for maybe he gets more play in Trials of Apollo. Maybe I'm going to wait off until the Nico book, but I am excited because, yeah, he's a good kid and he does go through a lot. But I agree with you. I appreciate that Hazel has him at the forefront to remind us that we're trying to save him because I keep forgetting. Like, there's so much stuff going on. Like, yeah, I know they're going to Rome and I have to be like, oh, right, Nico's in a jar. He's in a big vase. Let's
He's in a
get
big jar. Let's get Nico out of the jar.
Please.
He's eating pomegranate seeds.
But only one a day.
One a day.
I feel like I would have to eat an entire pomegranate a day.
Yeah.
I would be so bad at this particular thing. I eat breakfast and then I'm like, you know what I am? Hungry.
Can I tell you, I had to fast this week for a medical procedure. And let me tell you, at the end of the night, I was sitting next to my husband. I was just like, I want brownies. Like, I said it like 4 times. He's like, go to bed. Just sleep until you can go to the procedure and eat something. Like you have become one track.
This has become a tough thing for me as I progress through my 30s, is I'm beginning to get some of the, I can't do this anymore stuff.
Ah, yes.
And the big thing is like, now I can't eat too close to bedtime. And I remember in my 20s intentionally eating close to bedtime so that you could like gain more muscle because your body breaks down food slower when you sleep. So that was like a key thing to like gain more muscle mass, was like, oh yeah, like eat a bunch of protein before you go to sleep. Now I'm like, ooh, like I Google like what foods are okay to eat close to bedtime. Like dairy, okay. Carbs, no. Like nuts, no. And that's a tough thing because sometimes, it'll be like 11 o'clock at night and I'll be like, I'm hungry. And then I look in the fridge and I'm like that is too much sugar. It'll keep me up. That's too carby. Like it'll make blood sugar and maybe keep me up and make my sleep not as well. Nuts too close to bed makes my stomach feel bad. Like man. Let
me tell you, as someone who's progressing through his 40s, I moved past that and now just onto like, why does my index finger hurt? There's no reason for my index finger to hurt, but it hurts.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's
all downhill. Let's just say it, kids. You're going to peak at 25, enjoy that time, and then just buckle up.
Yeah.
It is a ride.
Man, the only thing I have to look forward to with going forward is I feel like I'm hopeful that like looks wise, I will be best in my 40s because I will have the wait, Mike's in his 40s kind of thing. Cause I've had a little bit of like Mike's in his 30s, which is great for me. So I think that's going to be like the true peak is that when I get more up and up in age, I won't necessarily look it.
Okay.
Now, my lack of sleep having a kid has like really shot into that because the bags under my eyes are growing solely because my daughter's like, you know, it's a great time to wake up 5:30, no matter when I go to sleep, which
hey,
like,
hey, guess what,
her.
Dad? I got a great idea.
I'm going to get up early. And it's like, and then she's so cute. It's like, okay, fine. I'm awake now. But I do still have a lot of work to do. And I keep staying up late doing it.
I also still have to make rent, so you have a place to stay, because that's what I decided to do. We decided to have you. So
Daddy has to read and talk about books.
She's going to be a great adult, though, with that kind of training. I mean, that's going to be awesome.
She's already a great kid. I'm excited. She's getting into really cute phase. She's like repeating words and stuff now and like knows some. She'll like grab her toes and say toes. She'll poop in her diaper and say poop, which is super cute. And that kind of offsets the like, dang it, now I have to change her diper. But like, yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. Mm-hmm. We're getting into good stuff. Yeah. She's saying heck a lot because me and my wife say what the heck all the time. It's pretty great. It's pretty fun. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So Hazel's worried about Nico. Leo says that they definitely can get there in the 3 days, and he internally hopes that Hazel forgives him for not trusting Nico. But as the narrator, he does let us know, I still think it was valid that I didn't trust this guy initially. And like, yeah, I think he is correct in that, not having the full Nico story that we know.
Yeah.
Frank asks if there's any good news, and Leo relays that Festus told him that Buford, our good table friend, made it back safely, but he did lose the laundry bag that had Frank's pants in it. And then we get this quote from the book, "Dang it," Frank barked, which Leo figured was probably severe profanity for him. No doubt Frank would have cursed some more, busting out the golly gees and gosh darns, but Percy interrupted by doubling over and groaning. And I think narrator Leo is much funnier in this book than he was in The Lost Hero. People had hyped up Leo as being this really funny character, and I didn't think he was that funny in The Lost Hero, but he's been very solid as the narrator in this book. I'm really enjoying it.
I remember when I read it, like I was iffy on Leo for a while, but he very much grew on me. I also don't remember what happens between him and Frank, but I also feel like every time I read it, I'm like, they should be best friends. Yeah. They're perfectly suited for each other.
I feel like that's a lot of the 7, and it does seem, I'm very hopeful for the future of Percy and Jason, because I felt like their beef of who's the most important boy was so silly, because if they're fighting about who's the most important demigod on the quest, it's Annabeth, and she's the leader, so you boys don't need to fight. Like, you're both...
You're the muscle.
Right, yeah. You can both be, you do the organization chart, she's at the top, you guys can be the next two, it's okay. But yeah, Frank and Leo, both as sort of the comic relief characters in their respective trio initial books with the first book and the second book in this series, yeah, they should get along just fine. So I'm hoping now that we'll get into it the next chapter, which is like, oh, I'm too closely related to Sammy to be romantically interested in Hazel. Maybe once he's out of the running, they'll be chill. So hopefully the Percy and Jason thing sticks now that they work together. Maybe we'll get something with Leo and Frank as well, because I agree with you. They should be 2 peas in a pod.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. Percy asks if the world just turned upside down. Jason confirms and says that everything is yellow. Annabeth and Piper are confused. Piper thinks that summoning the storm must have really wiped these guys out and they need to rest. I'm worried that this is an Eidolon going back into their bodies thing, because they were both possessed before, and the world turning upside down and turning yellow. I've been tired before. We've both noted we're getting up there in age. Being tired is a sensation that I will feel quite often now. I don't ever have the world turning upside down and becoming yellow instantly.
Yeah.
And I've operated on little sleep or post-athletic activity exhaustion many a time.
Absolutely. I tripped on that saying as well. I was like, what does that mean? Because didn't their eyes turn gold when they were possessed before?
Right. Gold just usually is not a great color in this series. So I didn't like it. We'll have to see what happens, but we got to keep your trapdoor intact so that no spoilers come through. Annabeth agrees with Piper and asks Frank to help them get the boys back into their rooms. So this leaves just Hazel and Leo alone on the deck. Well, not necessarily just alone other than Coach Hedge. But Hedge is at the back of the ship. and he's singing the Pokemon theme song, but he is
Okay.
changing the words from gotta catch 'em all to gotta kill 'em all. And this is perfect.
Can I tell you, nothing has made this book seem so much like I am too old for the intended audience than Rick Riordan assuming that I knew what the Pokemon theme song was. Doing my due diligence, I went and I listened to the Pokemon theme song.
Nice.
It's great. But
It rips.
kids, if you like the Pokemon theme song, go listen to 80s music. It's
Yeah.
80s music. Go listen to Never from Footloose by the Moving Pictures. It's that song.
God, the whole scene, that song and scene in the
Is
abandoned train
iconic.
station, warehouse, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good. Yeah.
And that's an 80s movie that ages really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's, gosh, quality stuff. Quality stuff. But yeah, I miss the days of theme songs to shows just going so hard. Like the Pokemon theme song, the Power Rangers theme song is another one that's just 80s music because it's basically just a Van Halen solo the whole time. Oh, man. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Not to say that there's not current shows with theme songs that slap, but I just haven't been as attuned to them. I'm very excited to have very strong feelings about whatever television programs my daughter ends up watching.
Sure.
We'll start with like curating, but there's gonna be a point where I can't, if she's like 8, I can't be like, no, you have to watch what you. So whatever she watches, I'll be very intrigued. So I'll come back with critiques. We'll see what the theme song landscape is like these days. But yeah, the Pokemon theme song, come on, a lot of really good music in that show. So Hazel's looking seasick. Narrator Leo lets us know that she's also looking hot, and her curly hair reminds him of a place in Houston that made great churros. And I was confused because churros was in italics, and I guess that this was because it was in Spanish. That is not something that has happened in the series beforehand. I'd have to look, but it's not like when Grover says enchiladas, it's like enchiladas. So I didn't understand the italics. They usually save the italics if they say like something in ancient Greek or whatever. I found it strange, but then as the chapter continues, there's more Spanish words that come up that are less common. And that makes more sense. But for churros to be the first interesting one, I don't know. And I would have to, as someone who only speaks English, because I just took Latin in high school, so I don't have like a second language that I properly speak to people. I don't know if it's common for this sort of thing to happen, but like, I feel like if you have a food that is ubiquitous enough to just be a normal menu item, I don't know, churros is a common enough thing where it just feels like, yeah, that's a food, where it's not like, what's this strange word from another language you've said?
Well, it's a word that would appear on a menu in English without any translation.
Yeah, right. They don't call it like fried sticks or like like crepe. They're not like
fried dough with cinnamon sugar on it and a dark chocolate dipping sauce. It's delicious.
You've made it as an international food when they don't have to translate it. And there's some that are on the edge, like tostones, where I feel like they have gotten popular enough where people are like, yes, smushed fried plantains. But like, if you're in a white enough town, you might have to be like smushed fried, or you do the thing where it's like tostones and then in parentheses like smashed fried green plantains.
It's so funny that we watch a lot of 80s movies in our podcast, and it was clear in the 80s, early 90s, tiramisu was having a moment and no one knew what it was yet. Because there's like, I can't think of the names now, but there's like 3 separate movies where someone's like, what is tiramisu? And I'm like, did we not all know this at one point?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Also, of course, we're talking about 80s things aging well when your podcast literally centers on that. It makes sense. Yeah. It's fun to see in older media things becoming more and more popular. Yeah. Like even I remember being a kid in the 90s. My uncle has always been ahead of the curve in terms of like health food. And he had kale once. And I was like, kale?
Right.
What is that? What's this thing? What do you mean there's dinosaur kale? What does that mean?
You have to massage it? That's madness.
I don't even know what that means. You have to massage kale?
You massage kale at a certain point. I don't even know how to do it, but I know you have to release some of the whatever in it to make it more chewable.
Interesting. Well, noted for me. The next time I eat kale, I will massage my kale. I'll have to get the good old Swedish. So where were we? Percy Jackson. She's got churro-looking hair.
It's a compliment.
Yeah, sure. Your hair looks delicious. But like curly hair and churros? I don't know. Churros are usually like, maybe I'm having the wrong churros, but to me they're like straight with like ridges.
They're straight. Maybe he's talking about the color.
Okay.
The color of churros, like a highlight in Hazel's hair reminds him of the cinnamon sugar.
Yeah, there's a glisten, maybe? Okay.
Yes, a sparkle.
If she had dreadlocks, this would make more sense, but she just has like
True.
curls. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, he gives her a tip about fighting off the seasickness. And she asks, oh, do you get seasick too? And he says, no, I get car sick. And that's hilarious, given that he's car guy. This is like Thalia 2.0, where she's afraid of heights. And he stops himself short of also mentioning that the other thing that makes him nauseous is talking to girls. Good job, Leo. Smart instinct. Don't reveal that. Hazel cannot believe that he gets carsick. Leo agrees that it's absurd, and then he gives her another tip about avoiding seasickness. Hazel assures him that Frank didn't drop him on purpose, and then Leo does an impression of Frank, saying, oops, dropped Leo into a squad of enemy soldiers, dang it! And Hazel has to fight back some laughter, but she tells him to go easy on Frank because Leo and his fireballs intimidate Frank. Hazel then goes about what happened at the Great Salt Lake, and Leo is overcome with dread because this is basically a, hey, we need to talk, which is never a text message you want to receive. Narrator Leo then says, quote, he remembered their meeting with the revenge goddess Nemesis. The fortune cookie in his tool belt started to feel heavier. Last night, as they flew from Atlanta, Leo had lain in his Lane? Lane or laid? Laid?
Had lain?
Had lain? Is that really what it says?
I guess. I wonder if that's a specific grammar rule that means that had lain is correct.
Interesting.
I'm reading along with you. It says had lain.
Had lain. All right. Wow. The more you know. Had lain in his cabin and thought about how angry he'd made Hazel. He had thought about ways he could make it right. Soon you'll face a problem you cannot solve, Nemesis had said, though I could help you, ... for a price. So I'm guessing this was the anger of the not trusting Nico situation is what he's getting at. Leo then offers to use the fortune cookie to help save Nico, and Hazel says that she can never ask him to do that because of the for a price aspect, especially because they barely know each other. And narrator Leo thinks about how that stings even though it is true.
I have to say, I don't remember what happens with this Nemesis's Chekhov's fortune cookie. I don't know where that's headed, but anytime there's just a price, kids, read a book. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
It's got to be bad. It's never
gotta
good.
be
It's
really
never.
bad.
And the price is $3.99.
Yeah.
No.
And the price is a hug. Nope.
Oh,
It's not going to be a hug.
You have to give me a foot massage for 5 minutes. Leo asks if she wants to talk about the whole holding hands thing on the boulder in the Great Salt Lake, and Hazel bursts out with a no, and then fans her face because she's from the 1940s before saying that she wanted to talk about how he tricked Narcissus and the nymphs. And Leo looks at his arm where the hot stuff tattoo used to be, and he says, yeah, I thought it was a good idea at the time. And she says that he was amazing, and it reminded her of, and then Leo goes, Sammy, I wish you would tell me who he is. And Hazel corrects who he was and says that she wants to finally show him. And Leo goes, oh, okay, you're going to show me a photo or something? And she explains her whole flashback situation. She hasn't had one happen in a while, but she once shared one with Frank, so maybe it could happen again. And as I pointed out in the Son of Neptune episodes, her flashbacks are very plot dependent, and we as the reader need to learn the truth of the Sammy-Leo connection. So of course, the flashbacks would come back. Leo thinks about how this being something that Frank got to experience. Again, we've got this half and half split. Half of him thinks, I don't want any part of this. And then the other half of him thinks, I definitely want to do this. Leo asks exactly what is going to happen and is it safe? And Hazel says that she wouldn't ask him to do it if it wasn't important, which is a great way of not answering whether or not it's safe.
You didn't say yes, Hazel. You specifically didn't say yes.
She just says that she thinks it cannot be mere chance that they met. And then narrator Leo says, quote, Leo glanced back at the helm. He still had a nagging suspicion he'd forgotten something, but Coach Hedge seemed to be doing fine. The sky ahead was clear. There was no sign of trouble. Besides, a flashback sounded like a pretty brief thing. It couldn't hurt to let the coach be in charge for a few more minutes, could it? Famous last words, Leo. You're definitely going to wake up to someone shaking you going, one of Keto's giant sea monsters is attacking us. Like, that is for sure going to happen. But I don't care. I love it. I love the certain predictable elements of these books because
they're comforting.
Yeah. And there's certain things that are completely unpredictable that I love. The deadlines. There's always about a week until some sort of solar-based thing or planetary-based thing happens. And we got to do it. Seasons, something is happening. I love that. I love things like this. It's been a couple of chapters and nothing bad happened. Like, yeah, we're going to come back to bad times.
Absolutely.
So Leo agrees to do the flashback thing. He grabs Hazel's hand, and then the flashback begins. That's the end of this chapter. I have retitled this chapter, Hastily Holding Hands with Hazel. Do you have a retitling of chapter 21?
Yada yada Confederate ghosts, yada yada.
That's very good. Very, very good. We will now take our mid-roll break here, which is the Market of Athena, where we will talk about cool things happening with the podcast. Yeah, we've recently switched the name, and it's much better.
The Agora of Athena?
Oh, I always like to do as much of a pun as I can, but I like to imagine that the Market of Athena does take place in an agora.
Absolutely.
It's great. There's all these beautiful things like merchandise you can get or new live shows. Ooh, look at all these fun things. And then maybe some sponsors at the end, but that's less important. Anyway, we'll come back after these words from me to talk about chapter 22. Hello and welcome to the Market of Athena Auxiliary Shubio edition. I am here fresh off of that live show we did in Providence, Rhode Island that we also live streamed where I covered the ending of Mark of Athena, but I'm back in New York City. I have begun reading House of Hades because we're covering at an upcoming live show in Manchester in the United Kingdom. Lots of wild stuff going on. Let's talk about the wild things. So I did mention that live stream. The replay of the live stream is still live and you can still get a ticket for that replay. That will work through September 20th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. This is part of the 7-day replay setup, so you can still get a ticket over at newestolympian.com/live. You can watch the live stream replay. Do note the descriptions of the ticket page and the comment section on the stream page, but there were some stream issues in the beginning. There were some audio issues, then it froze for a while in a very unflattering freeze frame of myself. But if you go to the 31-minute and 59-second mark, that is where things really get going in earnest. But it was fun, and that stream does have live chat replays so you can see what all of the folks in the live stream were saying at the time. Kelly was very active in the live chat, answering questions, talking to people, especially during the Q&A, so that was fun. Kelly was recounting to me how much fun she had in the live chat. So again, that live stream replay is available until the end of September 20th Eastern Time at newestolympian.com/live. If you need a little extra motivation for wanting to hear and see my thoughts about the ending of the Mark of Athena and that big whoa moment, which definitely was whoa, people weren't kidding. Here's a little piece of info. The public free podcast episode about that section of the book will drop on December 8th, 2025. That is basically 3 months away. If you don't want to have to wait 3 months for my thoughts on the ending of the Mark of Athena, you should get that live stream replay ticket. Now, the other shows that we've got coming up in September are twofold. One is in the United Kingdom in Manchester. That's going to be on Friday, September 19th at 8 p.m. Manchester time. And then on September 28th, we will be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The guest for the show in Manchester is Beth Ayer. We will be covering the first 3 chapters of The House of Hades. That's the 4th book in the Heroes of Olympus series. And then in Pittsburgh, I'll be joined by Eric Hamilton Schneider, and we'll be covering chapters 4 and 5 of The House of Hades. Super stoked about it. If you want to get tickets to those, that's also available at newestolympian.com/live. For folks who attended the live stream, you'll know that there is a discount code going on the TNO merch store for folks that were in attendance of the stream. So make sure you listen to the intermission part of the stream to see what that is. But yeah, just a reminder that we do have a merch store over at newestolympian.com/merch. There's a bunch of fun stuff there. Pins, posters, socks, stickers, notebooks, beads, so many fun things, digital items as well. That's all available at newestolympian.com/merch, and you can get 20% off everything in the merch table if you see what that promo code is by watching the intermission portion of the stream. And speaking of merch, there is also patron exclusive merch. Patron exclusive pins and stickers are things that are rewards over at newestolympian.com/Patreon. I will be making some new bonus episodes over at newestolympian.com/Patreon as well that I'm very excited to post. Just got to work on those. I got to do another Q&A live stream. I'm overdue, so we're going to get one of those going. Shout out to everyone who is a patron, and let's give a shout out especially to our newest patrons. Shout out to our newest God tier patrons, Violetta and Taylor Bell, and shout out to our newest demigod tier patrons, Claire Voyage and Avi. And I also would like to issue name corrections for Ben Sargent, Marcia Lane McGee, and Nuala Hall. Thank you so much for support. May Hypnos bless you that if you set an alarm to wake up in the morning, you actually wake up for that alarm instead of the sounds of that alarm infiltrating your dream and becoming a new plot twist in your dream instead of actually waking you up. Now, if you're all caught up on the Newest Olympian and you're looking for some new content to consume, you are in luck because I produce a whole lot of content and I think you would enjoy that content. One of the contents that I make that I think you would enjoy is a D&D live stream that I do with Beth Eyre, who will be our guest at the Manchester show, as well as some other podcasters. It's called 20 to Midnight. It is a D&D 5e stream that you can watch replays of on YouTube and I believe on Twitch as well. If you go to our pages, just search 20 to Midnight, 20 midnight. But it is a campaign where we are trying to save the world. I play a bard. It's very fun. Gabriella Urbina is our game master. And of course, if you've ever listened to any podcasts that Gabriella's made, oh man, the crafting of the world is just so impressive and it's really fun. Emma Sherjarko is the other player alongside with me and Beth. And the vibes are great. The goofs are rampant and the intensity is ramping up as we are currently doing the streams that are going to conclude this campaign. So you can watch that on YouTube and on Twitch by searching for 20 to Midnight. You can go to our website, 20tomidnight.com, and I believe that will redirect you to either the YouTube channel or the Twitch page where you can start watching. Now, unless you're listening on Patreon where you get access to ad-free episodes, you're going to hear words from a few sponsors to make it feasible for me to be a full-time podcaster. Some of those ads will be read by me. Others of them won't be. The ones that aren't are inserted locally. So if you live in Palestine, don't be surprised if you hear an ad in Arabic. But once those ads are complete, we'll get back to this episode of the Newest Olympian. And we're back. This chapter is also called Leo. We will also retitle it. It opens with, quote, "They stood in the courtyard of an old compound like a monastery." Not a banger, but, you know, when you end the chapter with a Bluesky flashback, we gotta anticipate where we are. Bluesky is from Blue's Clues, which is a television program where they jump they jump into paintings. Steve and his animated blue dog Blue go Bluesky, we can too. And Blue first goes into the painting or the picture, and then Steve says, "Bluesky, we can too," and then they teleport into whatever the painting is. Sometimes visiting a friend who's written in via a letter. Blue's Clues was great. It was a formative one for me.
My flashback pull is doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo from Wayne's World. That's where I go.
Oh yeah, yeah. Good. So when they arrive, narrator Leo lets us know that it is incredibly humid, even more humid than Houston, Texas. And as someone that lived in Houston, Texas for a decade, I know that this means they can only be in one place, New Orleans, Louisiana. And that is where they are. Hazel informs him that they are at St. Agnes Academy for Colored Children and Indians, which is her old school. Leo thinks the name is wild, which is correct, given that he is not from the 1940s. But he is spooked to realize that both he and Hazel are ghosts in this flashback. He especially doesn't love being a ghost after being possessed by a ghost a few days ago. Not a big ghost fan anymore.
Fair.
Super fair. Hazel explains that this is a memory, so no one's going to see them. Then the children emerge from the school into the play yard, and Leo confirms that they are in the past because of everybody's outfits. They're definitely wearing old school attire. No one pays them any mind, and then Leo catches sight of flashback Hazel, and she looks a little bit younger, and her hair is styled a little bit differently, and she doesn't want to be noticed. But that plan fails as some loser boy calls her a witch girl, and he's the biggest dude in the school. And Leo can't get a read on how old he is since he is so large. He thinks he may have been held back a few times, and he's curious because he's not wearing shoes. So he wonders, does this guy just not have shoes? Does he not wear them and nobody tells him otherwise because he's so big and intimidating? What's up with the lack of shoes?
Way to make me feel bad for the bully by being like, this kid is also so hard up that he doesn't have shoes.
Yeah, because it's either his family situation is tough and he can't afford shoes, or he's a true menace of a bully and it's like, I prefer to be barefoot on the concrete playground. Yeah,
the bottom of my feet are so calloused, I am no longer in need of shoes from kicking all of my victims in the face. Like, what is it?
Power to him. Hazel identifies him as Rufus, which Leo thinks is a ridiculous name for such an intimidating person. They approach as Rufus has drummed up some sort of confrontation. Narrator Leo describes the way he moves as a ghost, like riding a Segway, which he did one time, which I think is most people's experience, at least of being in this time period. It's like, oh yeah, I rode it one time when there was a free Segway demo at Disney's Epcot. That was my one time that I've ridden a Segway. And they have now largely gone away. I feel like they are only in select, incredibly touristy towns. That's the only time I've seen one.
It feels like everyone thought that was going to be the next big thing, and then everyone was like, nope, we're good.
Yeah, because like, what do you do with it? Like, where do you park it?
And also, like, as someone who is, again, working his way through his 40s, one fall off that thing, and I'm not getting up. Like, and Forget about the bruises. I'm going to break something.
Look, it's often not funny when people die. And I'm not making fun of dead people. But do you know how the founder of Segway died?
I don't, but I really want to now.
I'm going to Google this to make sure. But I'm pretty sure. How did the founder of... Oh my God. I got halfway through the word founder and it said Segway. Here's the ones that have popped up, though, for how did the founder of. It's all die. Segway, Macy's, Zappos, North Face, Bonnaroo, FedEx, Mormonism, the Mormon Church, and the Masters.
Okay.
Joseph Smith showed up twice.
Golf tournament?
I guess. Let's just... So, okay, yes. The owner and creator of Segway, Jimmy Hesselden, died in a Segway-related accident. He fell off a cliff while riding a Segway near his house.
All right. Well, that's what, forgive the pun, killed the brand. Clearly.
It's a bad look when your founder dies using the thing.
Yeah. You know the founder of Boeing isn't flying on? Boeing planes. Like, let's just...
He's Airbus only.
Only.
So, yeah. I mean, look, sometimes death can be funny, right? It's pretty funny. But
it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has a beautiful soul. And, our condolences to his loved ones and family.
Now, here's the thing. Does Segway the company... Did the rest of his family sue Segway the company? How did that work? Okay. Now we might be coming.
Did they sue the mountain?
Ooh. Get them for all they're worth. Get them.
Sue the National Park Service that was in charge of that cliff.
Sue the state.
There was no sign that said no Segways on this cliff, so it's your fault that the founder of Segway rode a Segway off the cliff.
I love that in America, that's the instinct. Whereas when I went hiking in Australia, there's a bunch of signs that just say, like, don't swim in this river. People did and they died. Like, the signs on Australia hikes and New Zealand hikes as well are so funny. They're basically just like, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Someone else is stupid. Here's a newspaper about them being stupid. Don't do it.
That's fantastic.
They're just like straight. We're like, don't stand too close to the edge. Like, there's no like
obviously
fences. Just like, don't do it. This is a cliff. Anyway, so Rufus is demanding that Hazel in the past give him his lunch, and she hands it over like this is a daily routine. Some girls make comments about how he shouldn't eat it because it may be poisoned. Rufus thinks that's a good point and asks Hazel if her witch mom made it. Hazel mutters that she's not a witch. He drops the bag and stomps on it, saying that he doesn't want to eat it anymore, but he does want a diamond, since Hazel's mom can make them appear out of thin air. And now I'm thinking, oh, okay, we know that Hazel had some trepidations about people in her past grabbing these cursed gemstones. Is this going to be one of those situations? Hazel says that she doesn't have any and tells him to buzz off. Rufus then balls his hands into fists. Leo wants to help but knows that he can't. And then a boy steps forward and he looks exactly like Leo. So Ghost Hazel turns to Leo and goes, "You see?" And the narrator Leo says the following, quote, "Fake Leo was the same height as regular Leo, meaning he was short. He had the same nervous energy, tapping his fingers against his trousers, brushing at his white cotton shirt, adjusting the jockey cap on his curly brown hair. Really, Leo thought, short people should not wear jockey caps unless they were jockeys. Fake Leo had the same devilish smile that greeted regular Leo whenever he looked in a mirror, an expression that made teachers immediately shout, 'Don't even think about it,' and plop him in the front row." Narrator Leo, on a heater. He's doing great.
Yeah, he's nailing this entire thing.
So good, so good. Sammy is holding an actual literal dunce cap that says dunce on it, so clearly he just got reprimanded by a teacher.
I don't know what the historical accuracy of dunce caps are, but they really feel like a misused teaching tool if they ever existed. Like, what's going to make a kid try harder? Telling them they're stupid.
Yeah. And also, if you are a class clown going for a reaction out of the teacher, why would you give him a giant hat that says you won?
Yeah, exactly. Why not just write clown on it? Clown cap or wizard or something. Come on. Like, this is all a bad idea. Mm-hmm. It's ineffective and harmful. I'll say it.
Yeah. Look, they cooked with detention. You got to stay in school extra and do nothing. They nailed it.
Yeah.
They got it there. No other punishment is as good. Narrator Leo then says, quote, "He could understand why fake Leo wasn't wearing it. Bad enough to look like a jockey. With that cone on his head, he would have looked like a gnome." Again, very funny. Very, very funny. Mm-hmm. I like that Leo recognizes that he is short and doesn't try to fight against it. He understands who he is. And I don't know if embrace it is the right term, but he at least is not doing all of these other things to try and like fight against it. He's not wearing chunky boots or considering leg extensions.
Mm-hmm. As a towering 5.5 feet tall, I feel very represented by this.
And maybe Leo will have a late growth spurt, you know?
Yeah.
I had my
Who
big
knows?
growth spurt when I was 16 years old. So like, it's not out of the cards for you, Leo, unless he's older. Nah, he's not.
I think he's 15.
Yeah, you never know, Leo. You never know. Now, when Sammy enters the fray, some kids step back while others step closer, like they're gearing up for some sort of fun, exciting thing to go down. And I was wondering what that would be. And then a very fun, exciting thing does happen. Rufus still has not noticed Sammy. He's just towering over Hazel, intimidating her, and then she makes a diamond appear, I guess because she's afraid of the situation. He demands that she hand it over to him. She's desperately trying to get him not to grab it. Sammy then approaches. Leo gets ready for him to bust out some Coach Hedge-style fighting moves, but instead, he uses the dunce cap as a megaphone and yells, "Cut!" And do dunce caps not come to a point at the top? Is there a hole in the top of a dunce cap?
That's interesting. It feels like a really makeshift kind of situation. Like, did the teacher just go to like the back of the room and grab some oak tag and just like tape it together and be like, dunce?
She raided the cheerleaders' locker and got it, and instead of go team, painted over it with dunce.
Dunce.
The St. Agnes, what would their mascot be? I mean, they probably wouldn't pick something cool, but it'd be cool if they were like, if they go alliteration, like they're the St. Agnes Armadillos. That could be fun.
Oh, that'd be fun. You know, in high school, my high school mascot, I went to FD Roosevelt High School, and our mascot was the Presidents. Talk about a not cool mascot.
So boring.
It's so boring. And the women's teams were all called the Lady Presidents because they couldn't just be the presidents.
Well,
they had to be the Lady Presidents.
We could never.
Never.
What kind of pie in the sky idea is that?
Exactly. That's madness.
Well, anyway, Percy Jackson. So he's doing this whole director bit. One boy chuckles and goes, "Hammy Sammy." And once someone says Sammy out loud, narrator Leo now starts calling him Sammy instead of fake Leo, though there is one Sammy/fake Leo transition before we get into calling him Sammy as the narrator. Now, the book says, quote, Sammy turned to Hazel. "Miss Lamar, your line is..." Sammy looked around in exasperation. "Script, what is Hetty Lamar's line?" "No, please, you villain," one of the boys called out. "Thank you," Sammy said. "Miss Lamar, you're supposed to say, 'No, please, you villain,' and you, Clark Gable." And then the whole courtyard busts into laughter. And Leo, as the narrator says, Leo vaguely knew Clark Gable was an old-timey actor, but he didn't know much else. Apparently, though, the idea that Flathead Rufus could be Clark Gable was hilarious to the kids. Leo, as the narrator, has this whole thing where Rufus's facial features make it look like he laid on his face all of the time. I don't know, too much tummy time, maybe? But then a girl calls out to say, no, you should make him Gary Cooper instead, and that gets some laughs. I don't know who Gary Cooper is. I knew Clark
Okay,
Gable.
kids, I'm so glad that you came to me for this
Perfect
question.
guess. The stars have aligned.
First of all, Hetty Lamar is super cool. You should look her up. She was an actress and an inventor. She got her start in like a German or Czech erotic film. She was discovered doing that. She became a big Hollywood star, and then she was an inventor that invented, I'm not going to get this exactly right, but she invented like a radio jamming thing for World War II planes.
Okay.
It wasn't actually used to like prevent the Axis powers from like getting radio signals. It wasn't actually used in World War II, but she did invent it, and then it was eventually used after
so
like her
cool.
patent expired.
This is like how Julia Child started by making shark repellent recipes before cooking food.
Exactly.
Julia Child was a spy. That's the coolest.
Hetty Lamar also like would travel around with like the USO tour, and she would have one guy with her, and he would be planted in the audience, and she would call him up on stage, and she would get the audience going. She'd be like, "Hey, should I give this guy a kiss?" And they'd be like, "Yeah." And she'd be like, "Okay, well, buy this many war bonds." They'd buy that many war bonds, and she would give the guy a kiss, and they would go to another town. And there was no internet, so the people in Peoria couldn't be like, "You already did this in Erie," you know, like just making money for the war effort. Good for Hetty Lamar.
Good. Wow. You're right. She is cool. She should be more popular. Shout out Hetty.
She's also gorgeous. She was married like 6 times in like 30 years and then spent the last 30 years of her life in seclusion and single. She was a character.
The dream.
The dream, truly. But back to this Clark Gable, Gary Cooper joke, and I actually text messaged my co-host Erica to confirm that I had this right. The joke in this is that Gary Cooper is way better looking than Clark Gable.
Oh, so they're saying,
Yeah. Objectively, Gary Cooper is a 10.
Yeah.
Clark Gable's kind of fine looking.
Yeah.
Look, he's better looking than me. He was a movie star, but he's like on a movie star level, he's like a 7.
Yeah.
Gary Cooper's a full 10.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, so that's like, I'm trying to, how do I rank the different hot people? I don't know, but it would a modern one be like someone and then elevate him and be like, no, make him Clooney, or no, make him Pitt. Like,
yeah. So like Gary Cooper is Pedro Pascal and Clark Gable is like Owen Wilson.
Nice. Yeah. Pedro Pascal looking great, and just him standing up for marginalized groups consistently is so fantastic.
So great.
Dunking on J.K. Rowling, standing up for trans folks. Oh, beautiful. I love it. What a dude.
I love him.
We love someone who is beautiful inside and out.
Absolutely. And you think it would be easy, but apparently it is not.
The bar has become so low that just being like, yeah, I don't hate people. It's like, oh my God, Pedro. But still, there's so many celebrities that are like, I don't know.
I don't want to take a stance on this.
I really want to be in this new Harry Potter show, so I don't like what she's doing, but we can have our different opinions.
I'm going to sign a petition. I was really disappointed in
Lithgow?
Third Rock from the Sun guy.
Yeah, Lithgow.
Dude, yeah, come on, John. You don't need the money.
No, that's right. Like, no one should be in that TV show. Don't do it. I feel awful for the children because they are literally children. Their parents should know better, but their parents are probably thinking like, what an opportunity. So that's a whole mess. But like the adults, get out of here. And I don't want these things that are like, the guy cast as Snape liked an Instagram post saying that J.K. Rowling is bad. No, don't do the show. What are you?
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
The guy who's doing Hagrid is the other guy from Shaun of the Dead, not Simon Pegg, but the other guy. I don't know his name. Yes. I'm glad I don't know his name because I don't want to know his name because he's like, I have some strong feelings about what J.K. Rowling has said, but I don't agree with her, but I'm going to do the show. It's like, oh yeah, that's really easy to say when you're accepting millions of dollars. Get out of here. Don't do the show.
Stop it.
Yeah, Lithgow, like, what do you, And then they had this, like, article where he was like, oh, I was really surprised to see all the backlash. I kind of understand what J.K. Rowling is going through now. It's like, no, you don't, no.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Incredibly justified backlash. So is your backlash, dude. Keep doing your Roald Dahl play. I love that he's literally cast in a play about Roald Dahl, another terrible person. And the whole play is about like him being bad and like coming to grips with like separating the art from the artist and all this kind of thing. But his smooth brain can't be like, but J.K. Rowling, I've never come across a situation like this before. Talk about not getting it.
I really wanted to see that Roald Dahl play too. It sounded really good.
Well, because to me, it seems like the Roald Dahl play like is actually doing the commentary on like this guy made good books but was bad. So how do we come to grips with it? And shout out to Beth Eyre, who I do D&D online streaming with at 20 to midnight. She was cast in the West End version. She was an understudy and she was like playing whatever role she's understudying for. So like, I have positive feelings about this play existing because one of my friends is in it. It's super duper cool. But like, dude, how are you literally in a play about this and then not being like, ugh?
You're not connecting the dots here, man.
Nah, man. Yeah. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So some girl cries out to make him Gary Cooper. Genius. Everyone laughs. And we all laugh because we all get the joke now. Well, thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Rufus is enraged, but he recognizes that he can't fight the entire class. But during this whole bit, Sammy grabs the diamond and puts it in his pocket. And I was very worried because I forgot how the curse worked. I thought just because he grabbed it, it was going to be bad. I forgot that it was like, you're not supposed to sell them, but I was terrified. I was super duper terrified.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, as director, he tells Rufus that he wants emotion. He wants the women to swoon. He asks the girls, did any of you swoon? And a bunch reply, no! I'm glad that this class of kids is all yes-anding. This is great.
This is great improv training. It's also, I have to say, like, kids out there, I love this plan of attack for bullies. I love dealing with bullies in this way, but you have to understand this is a really high level of difficulty.
Yeah.
Do not try, like, you have to be very confident in the rest of your classmates are going to get behind you. Know that you can sell the joke. This is hard what Sammy is doing here and pulling off.
You need the support team. You need the crowd to be overwhelmingly on your side. And it is working. So he's clocked this perfectly. Sammy calls for the group to take it from the top and yells action. Rufus's confusion is now replaced with anger. He goes up to Sammy and says, Valdez, I'm gonna. So now we get confirmation that Sammy is related to Leo. Wild that I don't think it ever came up. Like, did Leo ever tell Hazel his last name?
That's a good point. I guess not. Maybe not.
There's whole thing of like, you look just like this guy. Like at no point in time they're like, what's your name?
Right. You could be his twin.
Right. Like
He was also of Spanish descent or Mexican descent. Leo's Mexican, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that it's a book and we need the intrigue, but like it does feel like the first thing would be like, you're just by chance.
Yeah.
Your last name is Valdez,
I'm going to throw this out.
I mean, even with Valdez, it is a common enough last name in general, but specifically if you're of Mexican descent or Hispanic descent, that like you could be like, well, yeah, like, you know, it'd be like if there was someone who's Indian, it's like, well, yeah, my last name's Patel, but like, what are we doing here? Or a white guy,
Right.
like, yeah, my last name's Smith, but like, what are we doing here? So like, they could have still done this and then not being like, well, clearly, you know,
Right. Yeah. Maybe Rick was concerned that people would make that jump. Like, well, all Valdezes must be related. Like in Avenue Q, like all monsters don't have to be related. You know, like maybe that's what he was avoiding. But
Right.
you would think it's just a natural question.
yeah.
Was anyone in your family named Sammy?
Right. Yeah. And I guess we get established later on that there's a reason to establish why he would know his first name, which I totally get. But yeah, I just think it's funny that this last name big reveal, at least coming up, I was like, wait, oh, wow. How have we not ever come to this? So Sammy and Hazel from the past hang back so that they can be alone for a bit. Sammy dusts off the lunch and hands it back to her and goes, Miss Lamar, so smooth. He's 11 in this scene, right?
Right?
How can you have this much game at 11?
I didn't have this much game at 30.
That's insane levels of game.
Yeah. And I was funny. Like I had the humor, but I did not have the game at all.
Same. My play was always humor.
Right.
I had a run a couple of times where my move would be save a girl who is clearly having a conversation that she's not having a good time in at a party,
that's a good tactic.
with
Yeah.
some sort of like funny thing. So like, let me stop this from happening, whisk you away, and then we can chat. I utilized that one a couple of times, and I would throw in some sort of like joke to do the introduction. But like this whole director Miss Lamar bit, come on,
I mean, he's in the zone. He's next level.
cooking.
He seems like a
Absolutely.
child of Aphrodite, frankly, if he has this level of charm.
That's a fun one. If he was a demigod, who would it be? It's got to be. He's such a charmer. He has to be. So she then replies, "You're welcome, my treacherous darling." And then narrator Leo says, quote, "Sammy's smile wavered. The air became uncomfortably charged. Hazel stared at the ground. You shouldn't have touched that diamond. It's dangerous." Sammy says it's not dangerous for him. Hazel says bad things may happen. Sammy says that he won't sell it, but will instead just keep it as a, quote, token of her flavor. Hazel corrects him that he meant favor. And this reminds me of the reverse version. There's a hot pot place that I love to go to in New York. It's included on my New York City recommendations website, which is Schubs, schub.es/NYCFAQ, because people will email me all the time and being like, I'm going to New York, what should I do? So I made a whole website about it.
That's a great idea because I get those emails now all the time. I'm going to send people to your website.
Hey, do it. Wait, are you also based out of New York?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. Amazing. Look at us go.
Yeah.
Reaching across the boroughs, Queens to Brooklyn. But there's a hot pot place that I love called 99 Favor Taste, and it's not a typo. Or at least, like, it is legitimately called 99 Favor Taste. And even on my website, I put in parentheses, yes, that's the name. It's great. It's a wonderful hot pot place, and they do have a 3-hour maximum, which I always hit anytime I do hot pot.
Yeah. And what else are you doing? Like, come on.
Oh, you
Hot
can
pot's
eat.
not
You
for
got to
speed.
eat it all.
Yeah. And you got to make your reservation at 5 now because you're in your 30s.
Yeah, oh my God. Yes. But if you are going to 99 Favorite Taste, I believe you eat free if it's your birthday. They do check your ID, which
As
they
they should. Yes.
And that's the time to go, because then it's like fully free, all you can eat. Yeah. And as someone who has a birthday in February, that's the correct time to go to hot pie. Like if I had a summer
Absolutely.
birthday, that would suck, because it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I would love to do? Sweat more and smell like food.
Yeah. Because a hot pot place is generally not known for air conditioning. It's
Oh,
going to be
God.
warm in there. Yeah.
Yeah. When you have to put your clothes inside of a plastic bag, inside
Right.
of a cupboard underneath your bench, not a great sign of the air filtration of the room.
Yeah.
I have
yeah.
not hot potted since COVID. And I need outdoor hot pot, please.
Yeah. Yeah. And when it's cold, I always go to Kings County Imperial on the east side for soup dumplings.
Ooh, yeah, gosh. Speaking of soup dumplings, I'm pretty sure Joe Shanghai is on my recommendation list.
Excellent.
Food to get. It's
Delicious.
good. You got to go to a weird time, though. You got to go like Wednesday at 2:30 because
Okay.
the line will be out the door. They did expand to a bigger place, but you can't go at like a mealtime. And
All
it's
right.
cash only, I think. So
All right.
bring your cash.
I gotta
Or at
look
least
at this
it
list.
was. Yeah, look. I'm proud of my list. I add to it every now and then. Recent addition, Broadnosh Bagels in Midtown. Really good bagel spot.
Excellent.
And I was like, how did I not get it? I need to edit it because I got to add Bricktown Bagels in Long Island City, which is good and underrated. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So Sammy says it's time for their next scene. Quote, Hetty Lamar nearly dies of boredom in English class. And he sticks out his elbow like he's a gentleman waiting to walk arm in arm. Hazel pushes it away playfully, but thanks him for standing up for her. He says he'll always be there for her. And the narrator Leo says, quote, Leo felt more like a ghost than ever. Maybe he had actually been an idol on his whole life because this kid he'd just seen should have been the real Leo. He was smarter, cooler, and funnier. He flirted so well with Hazel that he had obviously stolen her heart. And look, Leo's recognizing the game, and that's good.
I thought it was a really great little bit of writing when he has Hazel start to say, you can't, and then Sammy fills in, I won't sell it, where it's clear that this is something Hazel has said a lot and Sammy has listened to and is acknowledging like, hey, you talked and I listened. It's a good hint, kids. People love it when they say something and you listen. It's a real winner.
It's so
If you don't have game, it's a good starting spot.
Oh my gosh. Especially as you get older and older, because at least men, they get worse and worse. So the bar does become lower and lower. And if you can just listen and remember things,
oh boy.
Step above. Leo now understands why Hazel looked at him so intently when they first met. He begins to talk to Ghost Hazel, but then the scene changes and they're in front of a dilapidated house with banana trees in the yard. There's a man listening to an old school radio playing conjunto music, which is also in italics. So we know that this word is Spanish, and he's on a porch. And then Ghost Hazel tells Leo that she doesn't recognize this scene as anything from her past. So my guess was, all right, old dude to Sammy, this is a Texas Sammy, and this will be some sort of Leo flashback. Narrator Leo then says, quote, Leo felt as if his ghostly self was thickening, becoming more real. The place seemed strangely familiar. And then he clocks it as Houston, Texas. He realizes that it's his mom's old childhood neighborhood. He points out Hobby Airport nearby. Hazel is shocked that they're in a flashback of his life. She asks him, how is this happening? And he goes, you are asking me?
I'm guessing it has something to do with Greek gods. Something about that. That's my
yada,
guess.
Yada,
yada, yada, Greek gods, Roman gods, yada, yada.
Sure. The old man goes, Hazel, but he keeps staring out into the horizon. He continues, I guess we ran out of time. Well, but then he doesn't finish his sentence. It takes Leo a bit to understand that he's talking to himself, and when he does realize this, he wonders, why did this guy say Hazel's name aloud? Which is kind of weird. I don't necessarily reminisce on things aloud from old times, but I'm not in the same situation as Sammy.
Yeah. Check back in with us in like 30, 40 years. See if maybe we're just like saying names of our old elementary school friends wistfully.
Yeah. I'll insert in 40 years. God, that's going to be wild. The fact that this podcast will exist in 40 years and past when I die. That'll be fun. The first episode after I die, that's going to be strange. Yeah. Hey, it's me, Mike's kid. He died, everybody. Sorry. But please give to the Patreon. Anyway.
My daughter is still living off this money. Don't stop giving.
Please. This is the college fund for my daughter now.
This is the art I've left to the world. Please don't stop supporting it.
Oh, God. But I'll make a thing because you can like update the episodes in the feed. I'll update a thing and 70-year-old make sure to be like, yeah, every now and then I just go, friend from my past.
Yolanda.
I would love a porch though. I love a porch.
Oh,
I do love a porch.
New Yorkers love porches. They love hedges. They love like a tree-lined street.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
a story
quiet
is great for that.
picket fence. New Yorkers think it's the most exotic thing in the world.
Well, because we just don't have anything. We freak out when we have... People get upset when I say that I have central air conditioning, in-unit washer-dryer, and a dishwasher all in the same unit. They're like, all right, money bags. And I'm like, no. I just live in deep Astoria, not near any trains. So they have to get people to live there with nice amenity.
Yeah, they have to give me something in exchange for living there.
But from a work for home perspective, I love living in a place that's like, please live here. I know we're far from trains. It's like, I don't got to commute, man. We're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
We're good.
Thanks for my nice gym and my rooftop with grills.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll put that into the episode. But anyway, Percy Jackson, he says as the narrator that this guy looks like he's just at peace being at his age. Leo then notices that the man he had said he was tapping on the arms of the chair, he notes that it's not random tapping, it's Morse code, just like Leo's mom taught him. He's tapping out, I love you, which is very sweet. Now out comes a young woman holding a baby and introduces the baby to their bisabuelo. And I was like, pretty sure this must mean great-grandfather because I do know abuelo means grandfather. I Googled it, and then yes, it does mean great-grandfather. I was so close because in previous episodes, I had guessed that Sammy was going to be Leo's grandfather because I was trying to do the timeline. Great-grandfather does line up, but it would just be like people had to be quite young when they were having kids to like get there.
Yeah.
Because they say he's in his 70s. If he was 11 in the 1940s, you're like 60 years later for this sort of flashback. Like the 3 generations need to be having kids like all in their early 20s to make this feasible. But like that happens.
Sure.
So once Leo hears this woman speak, since it's his mom, he just bursts into tears. And Leo knows that the baby is him. Sammy calls the baby Leo. And now Hazel recognizes it. She asks Leo, what does bisabuelo mean? He translates as the narrator, but not aloud to her, which I found confusing. I guess he's just like so overtaken by emotion he can't explain stuff to Hazel. And then they both realize at the same time, oh, that's Sammy. So Sammy then tells Leo, quote, you'll have to be my stunt double, eh? That's what they call it, I think. Tell her for me. I hoped I would be alive, but the curse won't have it. And I was like, the curse? And then a couple sentences later, we understand what's going on. Hazel is in tears. She explains to Leo that Gia told her that he died of a heart attack in the 1960s, but clearly that was a lie. Sammy then says, quote, that lady, Doña Caiola. I did have to Google Doña, and that means like lady or madame. So the Hera track is continuing. She said Hazel's great danger would not happen in my lifetime, but I promised I would be there for her. You'll have to tell her I'm sorry, Leo. Help her if you can. So then Leo's mom says, bisabuelo, you must be tired. So clearly she thinks he's speaking nonsense because she hasn't had any sort of talk with Hera yet.
Right. Because he kind of is if you don't have the backstory.
100%. Sammy tells Leo to tell Hazel that he's sorry for selling the diamond. And I was like, oh, dude, no. But he explains that when she disappeared in Alaska, he used the diamond to get the funds to move to Texas like he always wanted to. He loves the life that he started, but he admits that Hazel was right. The diamond came with a curse, never seeing her again. And then Hazel says, the curse didn't keep me away. I wanted to come back, but I just died. And I thought, couldn't both things be true? Like, couldn't he be cursed by not living long enough to see you around? Like, I think it's fine for both things to be true here.
Yeah, this is not, is it always or is it never end, as Stephen Sondheim would say. I mean, like, come on. I realize this may not be the right venue for that, but...
Oh, wait, for a Sondheim quote? I'm sorry. The nerdiest audience on planet Earth?
Great.
You're
fantastic.
Good.
Fantastic. Good to know.
And it's the perfect line where I fall in this thing. I've always been in this weird state of my life. Now I'm getting more nerdier as it goes, and this is my job. But like, I was always either the nerdiest jock or the jockiest nerd. And I've always like felt like kind of out of place. But I'm in this place where I am nerdy enough to know who Sondheim is and know some of his musicals, but not enough to know which one you were quoting.
Excellent. It was Into the Woods.
Into the Woods. Okay.
A good starter one.
I've not seen it, but I did see the one that recently had the revival, Merrily We Roll Along, with
an excellent
Goff
musical.
Radcliffe. It was great. It was so good. And the whole time I was like, this thing flopped. It's a beautiful play.
You should watch Into the Woods. You can watch the old, if you have PBS, you can watch one with Bernadette Peters and Joanna Gleason and Chip Zien. Great pro shot.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I'll have to check it out. Either that or I can do the thing with New York Public Library. We can watch old videos of professionally recorded Broadway performances.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll have a great time.
Love it. Great. Cool. Yes. So good. Sondheim quotes. No, don't worry. People are the buzzing in your ears is all of my listeners going, yes. Finally a Sondheim reference. It's only been 193 episodes or whatever episode this ends up being. So let's see. Percy Jackson, both things be true. Sammy does not hear Ghost Hazel, of course, but he tells baby Leo that he can tell that he is special, more than just a regular mortal, just as Hazel was. And he says that Leo will carry on for him and meet her one day. So Esperanza now insists that he give the baby back because he is talking some wild mess. This is certainly correct. Sammy laughs and then calls himself El Viejo Loco, which does mean like the crazy old one, which I did have to Google. I knew the Loco, I didn't know the Viejo, but that translates to old. But he continues on saying that Esperanza is right. He's going to rest. It's been a good life, and tells her to raise him well. And I was like, oh, that kind of resting. So then the scene fades. The scene fades, and Leo is now back standing on the deck of the Argo 2, Electric Boogaloo, holding Hazel's hand. And the sun has set. The ship is only lit by these bronze lanterns. Hazel's eyes are puffy from crying, and Leo, as the narrator, thinks they saw too much. Like, this was way too intense, way too emotional. And he's just feeling the weight of all of this. And then he says to Hazel, "Hello, Hazel Levesque." And then the book says, quote, "Her chin trembled. She turned away and opened her mouth to speak. But before she could, the ship lurched to one side. 'Leo!' Coach Hedge yelled. Festus whirred in alarm and blew flames into the night sky. The ship's bell rang. 'Those monsters you were worried about?' Hedge shouted. 'One of them found us.'" So, yeah, whoever could have foreseen this coming.
The title of the next chapter is going to be "Why You Don't Leave Coach Hedge in Charge for Just a Few More Minutes." Like, that's what the next title is going to be.
I mean, that could honestly even be this title.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I don't know that it's Hedge's fault, but of course it was going to happen.
Of course.
I will say, when I was reading this, when it said she turned away and opened her mouth to speak, I was like, they're not going to kiss, are they? Like, I got definitely worried about that. But I guess the turning away would have made that not happen. But regardless, super emotional, really intense chapters, really fun stuff. Do you have a retitling for chapter 22?
Ooh, a retitling. Never underestimate the power of a good sense of humor.
Ooh, yeah, really, really good. I was just going to call it Action because it's just really good stuff, really good stuff. And I love that bit from him. And I also loved this episode, Paul. This was a delight. I'm so happy that we were able to have you on the pod. This will certainly not be your last time on the show. I'll have to get you back for more fun times, but
I'm thrilled. I would love to.
Until then, if people want to find you doing stuff, hear you podcasting or anything else, what do you want to shout out to the people?
My friend Eric and I, we have a podcast. It drops every Monday. So after you're done with the Newest Olympian, if you want to come over and listen to that age well, we would love to have you. We are, I will say, explicit because I know that this show is not. And I was just sweating bullets the whole time, making sure that I didn't.
You nailed
it. You may have heard a couple of stumblings where it seemed like I wanted to curse. That was real. That was a real moment that was happening of me trying to think of a word that was not inappropriate to say. But we watch movies mostly from the 80s and 90s. Sometimes we do TV. Sometimes we do stuff that's older. And we talk about how it's aged. Is it sexist? Is it racist? Is it homophobic? Is it a whole bunch of things? We have a really fun July. We're doing superhero movies. In August, we're doing dance movies. So good times to be had by all. We would love to have you listening and following and laughing along with us. And we try to give people a little bit of an escape from what's going on. So we're going to try to tickle your funny bone every Monday morning.
Look, it sounds great. If you ever need someone to come through, I, as a child of a dad who had me watch loads of 80s movies my whole life, I am more than willing to talk about a myriad of programs. So
we would love to have you on.
It'd be great. Look,
yeah,
we can talk off chat. But if you haven't done a Beverly Hills Cop episode,
not yet.
Not yet. Let's see. But anyway, Paul, thank you for joining. Listeners, thank you for listening. And until next time, when we see what fun monster awaits us, until then, I'll see you later. Hello! Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Newest Olympian. This podcast is created, hosted, and produced by me, Mike Schubert. I also run the social media and the website. Our editor is Sherry Guo. The music is by Bettina Campamanis and Brandon Grugel, and the art is by Jessica E. Boyd. If you really enjoy the show and you just can't get enough, there's a couple of different things that you can do. First, you can go to patreon.com/The Newest Olympian, and you can get access to all sorts of bonus content that I post on a very regular basis. You also can find us and get involved in the community on social media. We've got an Instagram, we've got a Bluesky, we've got a Twitter, we've got a Facebook, we've got a subreddit, we've got a Discord that's available to all patrons. If you want to support the show, you can get merch at thenewestolympian.com/merch. You can see live shows at thenewestolympian.com/live, and you can check out the aforementioned Patreon. And speaking of, I want to give a shout out to our highest tier, the ultra god tier patrons who are helping to produce this show with their financial support. So shout out to Kelsey Gillespie, Vicky Garcia, Frida Vikstrom, Megan Moon, Polly Burge, Nikki Harris, Tatiana Schmidt, Sandra Rose, Josh Sayer, Abby Ryan, Marco Redhouse, Sam Reedy, Mrs. O'Leary, Milo Kim, Sandkopf, Rayla Matthews, Sky Mallory, Persasabeth, Aiden Parziani, Grace, Ginger Spursboy, A Cup of Solace, Bradham's Prime, Skylar Sisters, Scott Sheldon, Natanya Page, Ann M. Thayer Cohen, Bella, Percy Jacked Son, Han Haley Hingelheimer Schmidt, Catherine Sloan, Haley Mary, Jim Jam Koopy, Kit Kat Crumbs, Andrea, not Andrea, Jordan Ray, Nico's Black Vespa, and Zayden Wintergate. If you want to support the show in a non-monetary way, just spreading the show via word of mouth is huge. You can tell someone directly who you think would like the show. You could post about it on social media. You could leave a rating and review on whatever podcasting app you're using. All of these things really do help, and I really appreciate anyone who has done it in the past or will do so in the future. But I'm just so thankful that you tuned into this episode, and I hope you tune into our next episode where we'll be joined by new TNO guest Will Williams to break down chapters 23 and 24 of the Mark of Athena. But until then, I'll see you later.
you done?
No. It is running. Thank you all so much for listening.